Carmel Mooney. Welcome to my California kitchen. Today I'm excited to share with you my cheesy Aebleskivers. Now most Saturdays you can hear my kids or my husband running around the house saying Aebleskivers, Aebleskivers, which is their way of asking me if I'm going to cook up their favorite breakfast entree, my cheesy Aebleskivers. Now Aebleskivers are made in a very unique type of pan, and you can get this kind of Aebleskiver pan at most cooking supply stores or kitchen specialty shops. And they're really fun to make. In case you're wondering what Aebleskivers are, they're sort of a traditional Danish pancake, but they're in a very distinctive shape. They're shaped sort of in a sphere, and you can fill them with various things, and I fill mine with cream cheese. And they're similar in texture to an American pancake, but sort of crossed with a popover. They're solid like a pancake, but they're light and fluffy like a popover, and they are really delicious, and they're so much fun to make. So let me show you how you get started. Our first step for making my wonderful cheesy Aebleskivers is we're going to sift into a large bowl 2½ cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, and a ½ teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So I usually start by doing a little of the flour at a time first. Now that I've sifted about half the flour, I'll add the remaining flour. And I'll pour that ½ teaspoon of salt into the sifter and the baking powder. Sifting these ingredients just makes the texture very nice and airy. And then we'll add that sugar. All right, now we've got all the ingredients sifted. Okay, our next step is to whip 6 egg whites with a ¼ teaspoon of cream of tartar. So we'll put our 6 egg whites in first. Then we'll add our ¼ teaspoon of cream of tartar. And then we'll whip this up nicely until it's in nice stiff peaks. You can see how lovely those eggs are looking now. The egg whites are just fluffing up into nice stiff peaks, exactly how we want them. These egg whites are perfect. See how they're sticking in little peaks to the whisk, and they're in nice little peaks inside the bowl too. That's just right. Okay, now I've placed 1 3/4 cups of buttermilk in my measuring cup. And you probably wondered what happened to the egg yolks because I used 6 egg whites earlier. Well, I took the 6 egg yolks from those eggs that we beat previously, and I placed them in here with 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And now I'm going to mix it up. All right, now we're going to gently fold in the egg whites. And I use a spatula, not a fork, because I want to take care to make sure that I really gently fold in those egg whites. Because that's what's going to make those Aebleskivers have that wonderful fluffy texture. So very gently mix in these egg whites. So just to remind you now, we had sifted together the dry ingredients, then we had mixed together the wet ingredients, and then I incorporated the two together. And then we are going to really gently fold in these nice whipped egg whites. That's looking great. Oh, these are going to be so good. And it's so much fun to make them. I just love the actual Aebleskiver making part at the stove. It's just so much fun. Or as my kids say, making Aebleskivers. That's looking perfect. Now see how airy and light the texture is of the batter once you've folded in those egg whites? And now we're ready to make the Aebleskivers at the stovetop. My favorite part. So as you can see, I'm heating up my Aebleskiver pan, and I've sprayed some non-stick cooking spray on it first. I have my batter right here and my Philadelphia cream cheese next to it for putting in the centers of the Aebleskivers. Now for turning your Aebleskivers, I usually use a shish kebab stick, a bamboo skewer, or you can even use a fork, whatever works easiest for you. Alright, so first we're going to fill each Aebleskiver pan section about 2/3 to 3/4 full. And we just fill them like this. And I don't think I've ever done this when there haven't been a few little drips, but it's worth it in the end. So don't worry if you drip a little bit here or there. That's easy cleanup later. Alright, so those are going to cook for a minute or two. And when they start to set up, we're going to place our Philadelphia cream cheese in the middle and then turn them over. Now I've placed about a ½ teaspoon of Kraft Philadelphia cream cheese in the very center of each one of those little cooking Aebleskivers. Alright, it looks like our Aebleskivers are browning up quite nicely, so let's check and see if it's time to turn them over. I'm using 2 skewers here, as you can see. Sometimes I just use one, or sometimes I use one and my fingers. It's up to you. Oh, these look beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now they're going to brown on the other side for a couple of minutes. You know, making Aebleskivers is so much fun that I actually don't mind it when my kids wake me up early on a Saturday morning and ask me to come downstairs and make them Aebleskivers. Alright, so I think these are about ready to remove from the pan now. My kids can't get enough Aebleskivers, especially when I serve them with jam and jelly and maple syrup on the side. But don't say I didn't warn you when some Saturday morning you hear a knock knock on your bedroom door and everyone's yelling, "Mom, Mom, time for Aebleskivers." Just remember, until next time, do everything in good taste.